Chinese property developer stocks tumbling overnight after embattled giant Evergrande said it would have to delay a debt restructuring meeting and that an investigation into one of its subsidiaries is preventing it from offering new debt notes. The trouble in the Chinese property sector was one of the topics I covered in my conversation with Mike Henry, CEO of mining and metals company BHP Group. When I spoke with him exclusively earlier today, I started by asking him how a slowdown in that part of the Chinese economy could impact the company, which counts iron ore as its largest and most profitable business.
We've seen that slowing in the second quarter. There's still some sectors of the Chinese economy that are performing quite strongly. So you look at automotive, you look at green infrastructure, all performing well. But the sector that everybody focuses on, which is really important to BHP because it's a steel-intensive sector, is the property sector. Sales have been strong, but new starts are lagging. And what we're really keeping an eye on is how quickly some of these stimulus measures that the government's put in place translate through to improve confidence. Not yet quite seeing that pull through, but if we start to see that pick up, then we would expect growth momentum to increase over the remainder of this calendar year, strong growth into 2024. If that building of confidence lags, then it could take a little bit longer. But as I said, even in the face of this uncertainty, the company is still performing quite well.
Yeah, and steelmaking is up. The demand is up for it in China right now, although it does seem like more of their steel that's coming out of that country is being exported versus being used domestically. What does that mean for iron ore prices? And I ask that because I realize they're up 30% since May, but a lot of speculation, at least on Wall Street, on whether they can sustain that.
So, of course, it's both demand and supply. Now, on the demand side of the equation, we're expecting the fifth year running of over 1 billion tons of steel production in China. Exports are up a little bit. They're up at about 80 million tons per annum currently. But a lot of steel-intensive sectors domestically are performing quite well, as I said. Green infrastructure, automotive. So it's really the property sector that's lagging, and property does have an impact on steel. But where that's being felt is in electric arc furnace steel production. So it's one type of steel production which doesn't use iron ore, not to the same extent as blast furnace steel production, where you've seen utilization rates hold up quite strong. So that's what's driving iron ore demand. Of course, on the production side of things, we are seeing production pick up a little bit. But overall, the supply-demand equation has remained pretty balanced, and we've seen healthy iron ore prices.
And so you expect the iron ore prices to stay at these levels?
It's always hard to call the short term, but one thing I would say about our business is we've worked really hard over recent years to become the low-cost supplier, so lowest cost supplier of iron ore globally in terms of major producers, which means that we're resilient. We've got this great business in all seasons, where even as we see iron ore prices cycle as they will over time, this business will generate pretty healthy margins.
We're seeing a lot of supply chain diversification to India. Have you been a beneficiary of that?
For some commodities. So I was in India probably about 6 weeks back, and I came away really optimistic about the outlook for India because there's this energy in the people that you meet, a lot of confidence in the various industries and in government there. So I met with a couple of key government ministers. They have a clear plan, particularly in the steel sector, which we focus on. They've increased steel production to about 130 million tons per annum, looking to over double that by 2030. And the thing is that they probably don't need iron ore, but they need high-quality metallurgical coal or steel-making coal, and that is one of BHP's businesses. So in BHP, we have high-quality iron ore business, metallurgical or steel-making coal business, copper, nickel, and we're building out a potash business. And so for one of those 5 segments, India is expected to be a key market going forward. It's already our biggest market for metallurgical coal, and it's going to grow from here.
You mentioned copper, you mentioned nickel. These are 2 other commodities that are going to be key to the future and this energy transformation, decarbonization globally. I guess walk me through what the mix more broadly looks like for the portfolio for BHP in the future.
So let me start with copper and nickel because and many people don't realize this, the world's going to need 2 times as much copper in the next 30 years as the last 30, 4 times as much nickel. And BHP holds the world's largest copper resources, the world's 2nd largest nickel sulfide resources. And so we're right at the forefront of this growing demand for copper, nickel, and some other commodities that the world needs for decarbonization.
So copper, Dr. Copper, or even any of these other industrial commodities that we've been talking about right now. What is it telling us about the state of the global economy?
So the global economy overall, and BHP is a long-term company, so obviously, of course, we need to be ready for the cycles, but we're looking long-term, and everything that we're seeing on the copper front, so on the demand side of the equation, 2 times as much copper demand over the next 30 years as the past 30 years. On the supply side of the equation, things pretty balanced over the next couple of years. But beyond that, copper resources are becoming harder to find. They're becoming lower grade, which means generally more expensive. And there's all sorts of ESG concerns that need to be met in developing new copper resources.
One more question for you, and that is your outlook on the auto industry. I mean, UAW, the strike that's going on here in the U.S., very much in focus, whether it's steel, whether it's nickel, whether it's copper. Are you exposed to it?
So look, I haven't been following too closely exactly what's happening in the U.S. here, but if I bring it back to what we see happening in automotive more generally, strong shift towards EVs. And we're seeing that here in the U.S., we're seeing it in China, seeing it elsewhere. And as that plays out, there's going to be a lot more need for nickel, copper, and other metals and minerals. And so we've been working with a number of the automotive manufacturers on supply of those commodities sustainably. And we think that's going to be good for the BHP business over time.